Yes, now ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Fans YouTube channel. We're here today talking about Monday Night Raw for this week. Sorry, I know it's a delay again. We're Thursday, tomorrow's SmackDown. I apologise. Regardless, here we are. Let's talk about it. Right, first off, first match out and the first topic we're talking about. Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, when you think about it, while they're trying to get the champions to defend a bit and put a bit of prestige on the Intercontinental Champions and the Mid-Card Champions, it's kind of a match I didn't see coming, I'll be honest. I did not see a Bayley Valkyria Championship match coming, because I don't remember Bayley earning it. Not to say she doesn't deserve it, just I don't remember them building it. But then it's also more weird when you think about the fact that on Friday they'll be teaming up as a tag team in the gauntlet match where the winners face the Women's Tag Team Champions potentially at WrestleMania. And that'll be a random team of Lyra and Bayley who team up in that match. So it was a weird match to throw together, but then the crazy thing was it was a banger match. Now, last week for Raw, I said that segments were on point, the matches were on point. It might have been the best episode of Raw I've ever seen. Well, this week, it may just top that. May just top it, maybe just on par, maybe just below. Either way, it was on the same scale. Like, it was beautiful. The matches were beautiful. The segments were great. You can't knock it. And the great thing was Bayley and Lyra was a great match, but it wasn't a great match because they had all the high-flying, unrealistic moves. It was a good match because they wrestled, they hit each other hard, they hit hard-hitting moves, while also respecting the actual grappling of wrestling, and people loved it. It was a banger match. And now normally Bayley these days, she isn't hitting those moves that she used to in NXT, and Lyra Valkyria, she's not that over. So to see everyone agreeing in the crowd, everyone agreeing online that it was a banger match is so great. Now, obviously, I would have loved my GOAT Bayley to win the match, but obviously, Lyra Valkyria wins. But she won in a way where it was a roll-up, and then originally Bayley didn't want to shake her hand, but Bayley had a second thought. She went back in and shook her hand. This means they're going to be friends for the tag team match, but the fact that Lyra rolled her up, Bayley was mad about it, tells me something spicy's going to happen when they team up together. Either they'll win the opportunity, go further, and then a story will further develop, or they'll lose the opportunity and Bayley will snap at her, and then we'll have an Intercontinental Championship title feud going on. So that was a great way to kick off the show, personally. Now, obviously after last week, Braun and Penta had a tag team match against Dom and Finn. Dom and Finn won. And then Dom went to Adam Pearce to talk about him getting the match with Braun Breaker. Liv Morgan didn't like the way Finn was going on. Liv Morgan said, Dom, I'll go speak to Adam Pearce. Now, before Raw happened, we had announced at WrestleMania, Braun Breaker will defend the Intercontinental Championship in a fatal four-way against Penta, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. Penta's there because his shot was ruined by the Judgment Day, so he's never got his fair match for it. Finn Balor's there because he thought he earned it and he went and spoke to Adam Pearce. And Dominic's there because Liv went and talked to Adam Pearce to get Dom in the match. Now, originally, Finn was like, well, what the fuck's Dom doing in the match? But then Finn went, no, you know what? It's fine. We have two Judgment Day people in there. We can win this belt. Now, obviously, this is just planting seeds here, right? Now, at WrestleMania, I think the winners will either be Penta or Dom, because there's obviously going to be something happening where the Judgment Day turn on Finn Balor, and they're going to cost Finn Balor the title. Now, whether that means Dominic ends up winning it in the ultimate heel move at WrestleMania, or Penta ends up winning it based off the distraction, or based off the distraction, Braun retains it. Regardless, I know Finn's not winning it at WrestleMania, which is a shame because that's the way that should be. But we can't control everything. But it's a banger match regardless. My God, put any of these men in a one-on-one match, it's a banger. Put all four together, it's an absolute banger. But on Raw, Penta wrestled Dominic Mysterio, and Dominic Mysterio is obviously not the best. And I think some distractions, Penta ended up winning the match. And then Braun Breaker came out to fight them as the Judgment Day were attacking everyone. And my God, Braun Breaker sprinted his way down the ramp and hit the most hellacious spear on Carlito I've ever seen. The impact to Carlito was not that bad. It was what Braun Breaker did. Braun Breaker went flying into the spear, almost as if he was thrown himself, as if he bounced off a trampoline, as if he had no sense of gravity, because the way he hit Carlito and then flipped and flew across the floor was ridiculous. I saw that spear and I had to rewind it a good couple of times to check that's what I was saying, because my God, this just proves how athletic and how good Braun Breaker is. Not just the selling, not just the move, but the sheer shock of that move. It's just, it's undeniable. If they do not give Bron Breakker a world title one day, I'll be absolutely so mad. That was beautiful, the way he speared Carlito. Respects to Carlito. I respect him as a Judgment Day member, and I respect him as a wrestler. People put too much smack on Carlito's name, but let's just be happy Carlito's back in the WWE. Hello. So I can't wait for that match at WrestleMania. I personally cannot wait, and I cannot wait till the end of this very long storyline where Finn Balor finally wins a fucking title. So now let's talk about tag title picture. Now obviously New Day said they wanted the shot, and originally I would have thought New Day would have got this shot at WrestleMania. So then I was a bit shocked to find out that New Day were getting their shot on Raw, thinking, oh great, this match is happening at WrestleMania. Until the New Day got a chair involved in the match, and then War Raiders got the chair off them. War Raiders incidentally used it against them to defend themselves. Referee saw it, referee DQ'd the War Raiders. So that means the match hasn't got a good finish yet, and it's building further. Now, we've got one episode of Raw left before WrestleMania. Are you telling me the New Day aren't getting their shot at WrestleMania? Shut up. New Day is facing War Raiders at WrestleMania, and New Day better win those goddamn titles, because you know they'll do more for the titles than the War Raiders will. War Raiders are incredible in the ring, but so are the New Day. New Day are arguably better, right? And although you may make a debate for who's better in the ring, War Raiders or New Day make up for it in promo and character. So they will carry those belts to another level, as they always have. There's a reason the New Day are 10 plus time tag team champions. They are the GOATs. They are the greatest tag team of all time, with or without Big E, with or without Kofi Kingston, with or without Xavier Woods. All together are best as a three, but right now they're killing it because they've got something fresh, got something new, and with there's always one member of the New Day out with injury, they need to find a way to adapt. This was their way to adapt, so I'm loving it. And to be honest, New Day are incredible heels. They were when they first became the New Day, and they are now. Just incredible heels. So respect to that. Can't wait for that match at WrestleMania. That was a good way to end it, because I'm thinking, oh great, we're going to get a retention, or they're going to win it on Raw, and we're not going to get the WrestleMania moment or the WrestleMania match. But now we are, so I love that. Speaking of tag teams, American Maids, Chad Gable, obviously was still sick. They were in his hometown, but then they said El Grande Americano can wrestle. Obviously, we all know El Grande Americano is Chad Gable now. It's a shame it wasn't someone else, but it is what it is. So El Grande Americano teamed up with American Maid. Obviously, Chad Gable was not in their corner because Chad Gable is El Grande Americano. And they faced off against the LWO. The LWO being Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wilde. And again, this was only the second match of the night, and this was banging. I mean, this match was fire. Not in this time, it wasn't because of the chain wrestling. This time, it was the spots, the high-flying moves, the overall athleticism. Like, everyone impressed everyone. People were impressed with Joaquin Wilde. People were impressed with Cruz del Toro. People were impressed with Dragon Lee, Brutus Creed, Julius Creed. I mean, like, the high-flying and athleticism of Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde, impeccable. The high-flying and athleticism and strength of Julius Creed, the power of Brutus Creed, it was beautiful. Now, there was one man who wasn't in that match, and that was Rey Mysterio, and you'd think, why not? It's Rey Mysterio, he holds the LWO together, what the fuck. But then, after the match, we got a Rey Mysterio going to Adam Pearce. I think American Made won the match, yeah, they did, because of El Grande Americano. We had Rey Mysterio go to Adam Pearce and says he wants a match with El Grande Americano at WrestleMania because he's disrespecting the culture. You know, he claims to be a luchador and made up all this fake history even though he's not. And then last week he pulled off Dragon Lee's mask, like, what the fuck, why did you do that? And now Rey Mysterio wants him to teach him a lesson for disrespecting the culture. And I think at WrestleMania, that's when we'll find out it's Chad Gable. And to be honest, I'm not that pumped that this match is on WrestleMania. This could have happened in the main event next Raw, but obviously Randy Orton doesn't have a match now, and unless they're not putting Randy Orton, Aleister Black, Randy Orton, Rusev, or Randy Orton, NICHOLLZ, this is probably that match to fill up where Randy Orton and Kevin Owens' match would have been. So you can't be too mad at it, and the match will probably be great as long as it's not too long, because I don't think there's much really at stake. The feud's only last a couple of weeks, so yeah, I'm not that hyped for it at WrestleMania, but it's a decent match regardless. So when can you ever complain, you know? Then let's talk world title picture. So first, the women's world title picture. Adam Pearce came out after all the weeks of Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley feuding while Io was champion, and then they were trying to battle of who should face Io at WrestleMania. Bianca's like, well, I won the chamber, I earned the right, and Rhea's like, well, I've not got my fair rematch. And then they got to a point where Rhea got given her rematch, but Bianca was made special guest referee, and that was last week, and it ended up being terrible, and it didn't work out for either of them because it was a double DQ, whatever. Adam Pearce came out tonight and said, after everything, EO will defend the belt in a triple threat match against both of them, which is what we all wanted anyway, but they had to build it for weeks. So, let's go. Banger incoming. And to be honest, I think EO wins. Not because EO is the person who should win this triple threat match. Any three of them could win the triple threat match. But I think, obviously, Rhea's just had the belt. They wouldn't have took it off Rhea if EO was going to win the match. Or if Rhea was going to win the match, they wouldn't have took it off her. I don't know if it'll be Bianca Belair. Just because I don't think it will. I think it'll be Io Sky, because she can move on from then too and do other things with the title, while Bianca and Rhea can have a bit of a feud in a one-on-one match because of them both losing this match. I think their hatred for each other will distract each other and Io will get the win. I'll save this for my WrestleMania predictions video anyway, but I'm glad that segment was over. And speaking of segments, speaking of world title picture, after Gunther zip-tied Jay to the ropes last week after a banger match with Jimmy and beat him to a pulp, made him bloody and everything, you're thinking shit's going to pop off. You're thinking when Gunther and Jay get here, there's going to be a massive fight. Gunther comes out, red tie, right, obviously signifying the blood. The inside of his blazer was red. I mean, the symbolism is crazy. And something switched, right? Normally Jay Uso's the crowd pleaser and he's come out and he's doing all these nice moves to get the crowd over, and Gunther's making fun of him. He's saying you should have respect for the ring, you should have respect for wrestling. Come out here waving your arms, you're not professional. You're not intimidating, no one believes you. You're not a serious guy. But this time, after what he did to Jimmy last week in front of Jay, Gunther came out all smiles, he had a strut, he had everything, he was so happy, he was just completely not Gunther. And when Jay Uso's music hit and he came out from the stands, because I thought he'd come out the entrance ramp, run at him and start attacking him, Jay came out in the stands, and Jay wasn't dancing, but Gunther was. So there we have that flip. Gunther was wearing a bit of colour this time. Jay wasn't. Jay was in all black. He still had Yeet glasses, but they were all black. In all black. Obviously signifying what happened to his brother. He's wearing black out of respect. But also, the character's gone. Gunther's broken. Gunther's having a great time breaking Jey Uso. And Jey Uso's like, right, okay, cool. You want to break me? I've snapped now. Now Jay's in the ring. Jay doesn't attack Gunther. Doesn't go after Gunther. Doesn't even verbally attack him. He gives him a heartfelt promo. He talks about Jay's mother and he talks about, Gunther, if you've got a mother, I had to explain to my mother why Jimmy's in a hospital, why Jimmy's got multiple staples and whatever. And he's actually giving his heartfelt promo, and you see Gunther's demeanour change, and Gunther's almost feeling sorry. Like, Gunther's actually like, oh, I'm sorry, man, like, I didn't, whatever. And Gunther's, Jay's just still giving a heartfelt promo, and it's weird because we've now seen his fun side of Gunther, and now he's starting to feel sorry. It's almost as if, although Gunther's getting to Jay, Jay's getting to Gunther just as much, and it's actually more of an equal fight than we think. And this was just a promo from Jay. It was a beautiful promo from Jay. I mean, I'm not going to say the whole promo, because I can't remember the promo, but I remember thinking it was absolutely banging, so go watch the promo. But amazing. No fight broke out or nothing, but it built the card beautifully. It gave us that sweet moment of Gunther is fully on Jay's broken down Jay. We respect Gunther as a dangerous man. We respect Gunther as a dangerous champion. But now we have Jay as a man who has every reason to beat Gunther, and he's coming for the title. And we now have that fight feel. And all we have left is 1 week. And then we get WrestleMania. And we have a serious fight on our hands. And now, honestly, before I thought the right thing to do would just be Gunther still beats him. But now I could argue both ways. I still think Gunther should win, but I think they should take Jey Uso a bit more serious in this fight. Enough of the flashy moves, the terrible spear. Like, they need to, not just super kicks every second. We need a brutal Jey Uso, but we also need that same brutal Gunther that will win the match. But regardless, last week's Raw was 5-star. This week's Raw was 5-star. I don't know what they're doing, but they're putting all their stars and all their good stories on Raw, and they're just building Raw, and Raw's just so much better than SmackDown. And I think that's why they're putting Reigns and Rollins and Punk on SmackDown, because SmackDown has nothing compared to Raw. And let's be honest, Rollins and Punk are Raw superstars. And Roman Reigns, once Netflix came in, I think, was supposed to be a Raw superstar, but I guess he's still a SmackDown superstar. So they're building it on SmackDown, because also they have Cena and Cody on Raw, even though that feud should be on SmackDown because Cody is the WWE champion and he's drafted to SmackDown, but it's Cena and Rhodes, so Netflix won it. So that's why they're putting Punk, Reigns and Rollins on SmackDown to help SmackDown a bit. But even the mid-cards of Raw are on par with the main events of SmackDown. It's beautiful work going on Raw, and I absolutely love it. So respect to WWE and Raw, because that was banging. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, okay. So there's a reason I've delayed this Raw review / reaction video a lot. And there's a reason why the Raw and NXT will be coming up today, just hours before SmackDown. And that is because I forgot one vital part of Raw. I can't do the Raw review and Raw reaction without the most important part, the main event. Obviously off the back of Paul Heyman ditching Roman Reigns, saying I'm walking CM Punk out at WrestleMania on SmackDown. Paul Heyman came out to say a few words, and he said he's loyal to both men because Roman is his wise man and CM Punk's his best friend. Then Seth Rollins came out. Obviously Seth Rollins is the one not involved in the drama, and Seth Rollins just hates the pair of them. That's why he's in the feud. And he started giving it all to Paul Heyman, saying they don't care about him, saying how many times CM Punk and Roman Reigns could have helped Paul Heyman, could have saved Paul Heyman, and they didn't. He says he don't care. So then Seth Rollins started to push the boundaries, and he started to lay hands on Paul Heyman. He says, what happens if I do this? And he starts little pushes and shoves to Paul Heyman. He starts pushing him and slapping him. And then Paul Heyman lashes out. Paul Heyman grabs the mic, grabs Seth Rollins and says, shouts, don't you put your hands on me again. And everyone's like, whoa, Paul Heyman, where'd that come from? And Seth Rollins is laughing. And then CM Punk comes out to come fight Seth Rollins. And then mid-fight, Seth Rollins manages to get Punk to chase him back in the ring so Seth Rollins can count out with a curb stomp, taking out CM Punk. And then Paul Heyman goes to look after and goes to check on Punk. Seth Rollins goes to hit a stomp, but stomps just in front of Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's in disbelief because he could have just been curb stomped. And because of that, Seth Rollins goes, now you owe me a favour, because Seth Rollins could have just curb stomped Paul Heyman and he didn't. And that's a massive part of the story. Massive, huge part of the story. Because now we're going to get another twist. God knows what it is. So, and that was brilliant storytelling from Seth as well. The promo was on point. Storytelling on point. That's a beautiful segment. Don't mind that as my main event. Absolutely have that any day of the week. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.